Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. Recently, I have been seeing a lot of fall makeup tutorials. And as someone who loves the summer, I refuse to do a fall tutorial before it is even September. I simply refuse. I have no hate, no shade to the people who are already doing fall makeup tutorials. Do whatever makes your heart happy. I just will always be the person who is grabbing on for dear life to the last days of summer. I will always be that person. In today's video, I kind of wanted to serve both parties, if you will. We're gonna do a summer into fall transitional seasonal eye look. So we're gonna do one that you can wear during the fall, but that you can also wear in the summer. So if that is something you're interested in seeing, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so hair is pulled back. As always, I can't be bothered with it. I need it out of my face whenever I do my makeup, and my eyes have been primed. I use the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, which is what I use all the time. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am gonna make this a cut crease eye look, but I'm gonna try to make it as simple as possible so that anyone can really do it if they want to. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna be using the NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. This is a great drugstore and expensive, massive palette. Look at all these shades. I think I'm gonna take this one first, right here, which is just like a reddish brown shade. I'm always a sucker for a reddish brown shade. Oh my god, try saying that 3 times fast. I'm gonna first use this Profusion Small Pointed Eyeshadow ES6 brush. It's just like a pencil brush, but a little bit fluffier and like a little bit more tapered. And I'm going to focus this on the crease. So I'm gonna look straight ahead and I'm gonna focus this right here. Keeping my eye open so that I see where the shadow is being placed, so that I know what it's gonna look like when my eyes actually open. Being very light-handed with this. Bringing it pretty much all the way in. Then I'm going to go back in and just build it up. You want to make sure that you're using a pretty small brush for this step because you really want to control where the eyeshadow is being placed. You don't want to blend it too far up. I mean, you could have used a brush that was even smaller than this. You know, maybe like a, like one of these. One of these bad boys. Like an angled brush like this that's like razor sharp. But I didn't want to use that today. Again, really just focusing on the crease, not bringing it up any further because we're going to take a few other shades to blend it out. Like I said, we are going to be cutting the crease, so don't worry if you get a little bit on the lid. We're going to take it all off. And then once you have it built up pretty well, we're going to go in with the next shade. This is where I have a bit of a harder time because I never know which one to take, because you want to make sure that it's not as dark as the one that you already put down, but you also want to make sure it's not too light to where it's not going to blend. I kind of want to take this purple one, but I'm worried that it's too close to this shade. I'm going to actually, before I do anything, just take a clean blending brush. Can't talk. Clean blending brush. Just blend her out. I'm actually going to take this shade right here. It's like a soft, salmony, like pink shade. Gonna use a fluffy brush with that. This is the Morphe M433. Just a nice fluffy brush that's not too dense, that's gonna be able to blend it out. Gonna pick up that shade and like right above it, I'm really gonna work it into the first shade we put down, putting it almost like on top of it. Well, not almost, I am putting it on top of it and blending up. Bringing it pretty much up into the eyebrow. See that gradient right there? We really want to make it look as seamless as possible. Gonna take a little bit of that first shade on this little blending brush, just because I want to marry these two shades, and sometimes it's easier to blend with the darker shade rather than the lighter one. So I'm just using this to blend. Gradient is looking good so far. The secret ingredient to a good gradient. Try saying that 3 times fast. The secret ingredient is always just countless hours and minutes and days of blending. It always is gonna make everything look 10 times more cohesive the more time you spend blending it. So I'm happy with the way that this looks so far. I am gonna go in with just like a diffusing shade, which is usually for me just a very light bone shade. So I'm gonna take this one right here that has a little bit of warmth in it. It's like a cream shade. And I'm going to use another clean blending brush. If you guys don't have multiple blending brushes, you can always just clean off your brushes in between. I like to use this in between uses, or just wipe it off on a paper towel, but I'm going to use a clean blending brush and just up at the edges, we're going to use this to diffuse. Really just focusing this shade on the edges of where we put that pink transition shade, just so that everything blends out really nicely. And if you feel like you lost any of the shades, you can of course always go in and reapply. That's the beauty of makeup and blending and eyeshadow, so you can always go in and add more. Because this is a cut crease, I am only going to be working one eye at a time, so we're going to go ahead and finish off this eye right here. To cut the crease, what I'm first going to do, and I forgot to grab it, but I first am going to take a cotton swab and some micellar water and kind of clean up around where I want to cut the crease, just to really give a nice extra sharpness to it. I don't normally do this, but I feel like it's really gonna help everything look really defined and sharp. I feel like I need those like cone shaped cotton swabs. I feel like that would really help because this looks a little bit janky, but we're gonna clean it up, so don't worry. For the cut crease, I am going to be using 2 P. Louises. I'm gonna kind of mix them together. I have the purple one, which is called Vivid Violet, and then I have like a nude one that I use all the time. This is in the shade Rumor 01. I'm gonna try to mix them at first and see if I can create a bit of a lighter shade of purple. If not, I'm just gonna go in with this Rumor one, but I have a few of these colored P. Louises and I really want to try them out. This one just seems a little bit too dark for what I'm going for, so I'm gonna try to lighten it. I'm gonna use my Anastasia 18 with this little concoction. This is my favorite brush to use for a cut crease. I almost said cream contour. This is my favorite brush to use. It's perfect. It's nice and thin. It's a nice like flat paddle brush, and I'm gonna use that to cut my crease. You want to make sure that you're taking your time with this, not rushing. You can always just stamp if you feel unsure about how steady your hands are, like me. And then you can make a mistake like I just did. I haven't done a cut crease in so long. In my opinion, they're just a very timeless eye look. Like I feel like you can just add a cut crease to any look that you're doing and it'll look so much more elegant and so much more complex than it actually is. Then once that is laid down, we're gonna go in with the lid shade, which is gonna be like a nice pop of pastel purple. This is where the summer is gonna come in, this shade right here. The crease is very fall, but the lid, the cut crease, is summer. I'm gonna take this Morphe M167. It's a nice stiff like flat paddle brush. I'm gonna pack my brush with that shade and I'm going to set this down. It's almost exactly the same shade, wow. And you really want to press this in and set all of that base that you just put down. You can even use concealer for the cut crease if you don't have access to P. Louise or any kind of colored base. And there we have it. This is so pretty. This is exactly what I was envisioning in my head. So what I'm gonna do next is my other eye, and then I'm gonna add some liner and tight line and add some mascara, and then we're gonna move on to base. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and I'll be right back. All right, eyes are pretty much finished until we do lashes, so we're gonna move on to face. And I'm actually going to start with cream contour. If you have not seen my last video, I highly recommend you go check it out and you'll understand why I am doing everything the way that I'm doing it. But I'm going to start off with this Huda Beauty Tantour in the shade Fair and this e.l.f. contour brush, which is just like a flat brush. And I'm going to contour first. Cream contour first, I should say. I'm going to take this brush right here, pack on some product, and then pack the excess off. And then right above the hollows of my cheek, I'm going to apply some of this Tantour, blending up and into the hairline. Do the other side as well. Really just like stamping this in and blending up. Looking like Trixie Mattel. Gonna hit the forehead. Gonna take this Luxie right here just to blend out the edges. That e.l.f. brush is very dense, so it's gonna pack a lot of product on without like a lot of pressure. You know, it's gonna be doing its job and most of the work for you, but I just like the shape of it. So what we are doing right now is just defining the natural hollows and shadows of our face even more, so that when we go to put on foundation, it will be that much more defined. Like I said, if you haven't seen my last video, I highly recommend doing so. I'll have it linked so that you can go check it out. Once we are done roughly painting the contours of our face on, we're going to move on to concealer. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer in the shade 215. I use this all the time, and I'm going to pack this on. To kind of blend that out slash set it into the skin, I'm going to take this Amazon like set brush. It's a very dense tapered buffing brush, and I'm going to press that concealer really into the skin. I'm gonna just use my finger for the inner corner, but I want to use the brush for the rest of it because I really don't want to pick up any pigment. I want to just like stamp this into the face. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side as well. Hopefully I haven't lost you guys yet with how intricate this face is going. Hopefully I haven't lost you yet. The next step is going to be taking our foundation. This is the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in the shade 7. I'm going to put this on a tray, just like one pump of it. I don't think that I'm going to need more than that because the foundation is going to be a very thin layer and it's just going to act as a mesh so that everything will kind of come together underneath it. I'm going to take a sponge. This is just the e.l.f. sponge that I always use, and I'm going to at first start on my forehead, starting in the center and then working my way out to the contour that I already laid down and just bringing it ever so lightly over that contour and down the nose. Then I'm going to go down here and again just go right over the contour, bringing it out and up right over everything. Like I said, we're just going to use this as a mesh. Bring it up on the concealer and then over the nose, down the jaw, so we can hit where we did that contour for the jawline. And the sponge is really helping to pick up everything that doesn't need to be there, like that there's an excess of. That's why I love when I do this technique to use a sponge rather than a brush. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take a little bit of concealer, the same concealer that we used, the Lancome one, and just right here, I'm just gonna go like this to create a bit more contrast. Bring it all the way into the mouth. And look at that contour. Gonna repeat on the other side. And then we're gonna go in with another concealer. This is the Rare Beauty Concealer in the shade 170W. I'm gonna just use this to highlight, which is gonna be right here underneath the eyes and down the center of the face. I'm gonna use this quite sparingly, but I wanna show you guys what difference it makes because it really does make a difference. Going right in here, right in here. The same brush, just the other side that's still clean. Going to pack this on. You see how much of a difference it makes? It just adds like a little bit more brightness to the face and helps to pull forward like the center of my face and make me look 10 times more awake than I actually am. Like I said, I'm also going to hit down the center of my face as well. And we're using the same brush, not the sponge, just because I don't want to soak up any pigment. Before I set everything, I'm gonna add a little bit of this Dew Blush by Say. This is in the shade Rosy, and I'm just gonna apply it right here, just to add some flush to the face. Really adds a nice glow. Now that all the creams are done, I'm gonna go in and set my face. I am gonna be using my One Size setting powder that I use all the time with a little powder puff because I feel like that just, it looks the best when I use a powder puff. So I'm gonna pack the powder on and then hit underneath my eyes, press it into the skin, hitting the forehead and down the center of the face as well. I am going to take a big fluffy brush and whatever is left in the cap and just set the rest of my face so that nothing is slipping or sliding anywhere. Pressing the powder in, not swiping it, just pressing it. Alright, once everything is set, I'm going to go in and add some other powders. I'm going to start with this Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder. This is a very good contouring powder. Using my Real Techniques contour brush, I'm just going to hit right up here, bring it in. Everyone's face is different, so when it comes to contouring and highlighting and stuff like that, it's really the best to just practice on your face and try different techniques so you can see what really works for you. You never know until you try. One of these steps might not work for you that I did on my face, but one other step might work for you, so it's really good to watch a bunch and then just pick what resonates with you, try it out, and just create your own technique of how you do your face and your base makeup. Gonna take some bronzer just to warm up the face. This is the Fenty Sunstalker bronzer in the shade Shady Biz. Favorite bronzer like in the world. So good. Using this little Morphe M530 brush, and right above where I put the contour is where I'm gonna focus this bronzer. Pushing it back into the hair and bringing it down. Also gonna bring it on the forehead. Of course, bronzer is like that second layer that's gonna melt the contour even more into the skin. Patrick Ta blush in She's Sincere, using a small little angled brush, very neutral shade, so it'll complement the eye look. Focusing it back here, right where we put the cream blush and bringing it down. Bring it across the nose as well. And we're done for skin. So I'm gonna go ahead, do my brows and lashes as normal off camera. And then I'm gonna come back and we could do a nice nude lip to finish this eye look. So I'll see you in just a second. All right, we're ready for lips now. I'm gonna go in with a few products. None of them are new. I'm gonna speed through this part just because I won't be able to talk while I do my lips, but I will leave a link to a lip tutorial if you wanna see a more in-depth on how I get this nude lip. I'm gonna first go in with this Strip Down pencil by MAC, and then I'm gonna go in with this Milani Lip Fetish lipstick in the shade Pleasure, and then I'm gonna go in with this Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Endless Cacao, and then I'm gonna top it off with some NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee. So I totally forgot about my lower lash line. I'm gonna quickly just add some of that first darkest shade that we used underneath the lower lash line right here, bringing it like halfway in on both sides. I'm like looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, why does something look off? I feel like I'm not fully done yet. Then I'm gonna take on this pencil brush right here, that pink shade that we used, and just blend everything out. Gonna add a little bit of mascara. This is just the Maybelline Curl Bounce, what I've been using recently. It is good for the lower lashes though. It really separates them and elongates them. I was gonna add some black liner, but I'm gonna leave it because I like how open my eyes look, so I'm just gonna leave it the way that it is. My final step, of course, is to just bring back my birthmark right here and poke myself in the eye. So I'm gonna use my one size brown liner pencil for that. And there we are. We are finished with this look, you guys. I love the way it came out. I feel like you can wear this in the summer and in the fall. It's a great transitional eye look. If you have not already, make sure that you are subscribed and that you hit the little bell so you are always notified when I upload a new video. And I think that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in my next one.